All right, guys, let's get this now to the real talk. So let's talk LC500. Now, before I get there, I hope you really like that small intro. This is what I'm trying to get right now. I'm trying to get to a level where I could combine visuals with music and just get to really express myself on how I view these vehicles. And of course, it takes a little bit of skill, a little bit of time, but most importantly, I hope that was good enough for you. I hope you liked it. So the feedback is always appreciated. Thank you very much. So with that said, let's get over this. So what we have here, it's a beautiful LC500. This is the 2022 model coupe, not the convertible. Personal preference, I love the coupe. And to give you a little bit of context, if you were to ask me what do I think about the LC500, here's what I'm going to tell you. For me, the LC500 is the answer to the question that Lexus was asking itself. And the question is, how do we recreate the amazing? We did it in the past. Can we do it again? And the answer is yes. When I say, can we recreate, of course, I'm referring to the iconic Lexus LFA, which was on a class of its own. It was ahead of its time. Different beast, just a different mountain. Past that peak, there was zero oxygen. Now, the LC500 was never intended to be the successor to the LFA because it's a different segment. You know, when you think about the LFA, some of the rivaling models were on the supercar territory. We're talking about a Ferrari 599 GTB or a Porsche Carrera GT, for example. It's one of those, right? While as the LC500 places itself a little bit underneath in the GT segment. And that's what I like. I like the GT segment. When you think about the GT segment, it's one of the most iconic and most beautiful, memorable vehicles ever made. Think about the entire Aston Martin lineup. Think about Porsche 911. Think about Mercedes-Benz S-Class Coupe, which is to this day my all-time favorite. It's a lot of those cars. That Maserati Gran Turismo is one of those as well. So the LC500s deserved and earned its place in that GT segment, and rightfully so, because what you get here is zero compromise between power or performance, should I say, and comfort and luxury. Absolutely not. You know, as much as you have a 5-liter V8 naturally aspirated linked to an exhaust system that was co-developed between Yamaha and Lexus, you also do have Alcantara and leather all around, heads-up display, Mark Levinson sound system with 13 speakers. This is what's amazing about this car, is that it kind of bridges the gap between those who want to be in the supercar territory, which is quite frankly very, very expensive, and those who can afford a GT north of $100,000. And this is at the right side of $100,000. So what you pay and what you get, it's very, very reasonable. It's very tempting. So if you're in the market for one, definitely get yourself an LC500. It will not be a regrettable decision. So Lexus consistently released performance vehicles in multiple segments throughout the years. Like you go back, you have the ISF back in the day, you have the RCF Track Edition, GSF, and even recently the IS500. However, those vehicles were existing models that received the F treatment, which is very different from what we have here. The LC500 is a segment of its own. It was created from scratch. So that's why I like to say from the ashes of the LFA, because it has that spirit in it. And I absolutely love that. However, that spirit right now just came on a softer side. Instead of going hardcore supercar territory, this is the best of both worlds, because you can go to a meeting on a Monday morning, dressed up, drive civilized, no problem. And then once that deal is secured, and then at the end of the week or whatever you want to call it, you can come out of the next curve power sliding, downshifting, V8 growling. Now here is a point that I wanted to highlight for those of you who are in the market for a GT, either be it the LC500 or a different brand. Should you consider the LC500? Absolutely yes. And the reason for that is, sadly, we're coming to the end of an era for the LC500. Probably they will keep the LC as a model. Maybe they will. However, the powertrain will be discontinued. The downsizing is as real as it gets. Everyone is going towards bi-turbo, 4 cylinders or 6 cylinders, or some kind of hybrid powertrain, electric battery with some. So yeah, I mean, take the example of the new C63 AMG. It's going to be a 4-cylinder. I mean, can you believe that? So we are going towards that route. And In a time when everyone will be driving electric vehicles, certainly powerful and fast electric vehicles, no doubt about that, there will always be this naturally aspirated charm that you get from an engine block like this. And with that, we're going to take a listen at this beautiful exhaust system that was co-developed with Yamaha. Take a listen to that.